The trend all over the world today is movement toward the large cities. People are leaving the farms and the small towns to move to the big cities, and it's happening here in Osaka, Japan. The city can't build housing and schools fast enough to keep up with its growing population. And as in other cities, land here is very expensive. Most Japanese families cannot afford a house or an apartment in town. If they can afford an apartment or a house, it's usually in the suburbs. And that's creating a second worldwide trend, which is known here as the donut syndrome. The people are moving out of the inner city to the suburbs, leaving a hole. To make more land on which to build apartment buildings and houses, the Japanese in Ashiya have dumped dirt into the inland sea, extending the shoreline outward about 1/4 of a mile. What you see here is all new land. Suburban streets already form blocks where homes will soon be built. These new government buildings will be renting within 6 months. Ashiya Newtown, as this development is called, will allow hundreds of families who can afford it to move nearer to Osaka. The seawall protecting the new shoreline of Ashiya Newtown is reinforced with heavy stones. The tall apartment buildings were designed to house lots of people. Around the apartment buildings are new, expensive Western-style houses. For the wealthy, they offer luxurious living with space for gardens and driveways, and a common cement boardwalk for jogging and strolling. From ancient times, the Japanese have used the sea for transport and communication among the many islands which constitute the Japanese nation. Osaka, being on the south-central shore of Honshu, was the natural port for inter-island trade and transport. These old watercolors and prints show ancient Osaka when it was a lot like Venice, Italy. Osaka was crisscrossed by canals to bring boats from the harbor right downtown to the merchants' warehouses. Today, most of those canals have been filled in and have been turned into streets. Boats are no longer needed downtown. Trucks do the work between the harbor and the business district. There are 235,000 stores in downtown Osaka, doing $30 billion worth of business yearly, and 88% of that is wholesale. It's no wonder that people are moving out of the downtown area to the quieter suburbs. At night, this place is almost empty. The koto is one of the oldest musical instruments in Japan. Originally, all the koto players were men. Now many of the koto players are women. Mrs. Mayuki Yoshikami is giving her daughter Tommy a lesson. Tommy will become one of the few to carry on the traditional music of the koto. Music in Japan has changed a great deal, and instruments like the koto are being replaced by pianos and guitars. Mrs. Yuasa is giving a piano lesson to 10-year-old Tomoko Subuchi. The piece is entitled Story of the Star World by Japanese composer Akira Yuyama. It sounds very much like recital pieces you hear in the United States and Canada. Mana Yuasa is typical of the young Japanese who want a concert piano career. Her favorite composers are Mozart, Schumann, and Chopin. There are 3 pianos in her home, 2 in her mother's studio, and this one in her bedroom. Mana practices 4 to 6 hours a day. This is the Chopin Ballade No. 3 in A-flat major. Anna's brother, Yoshihito, is in his bedroom across the hall. His preference in music is definitely Western and contemporary.
Are you going to discover where past lies tell us merely unfound? Remember me to all who lives there. She once was a true love of mine.
All of the Yuasas are musical and all love Western music. Here they are listening to Dr. Yuasa, a recording he made of a Bach prelude and fugue on his church organ. Cultural change comes much more slowly to the Tarahumara. These men still dress in the ancient Tarahumara style, while most of their fellow Tarahumara have adopted Western or Mestizo styles. These men have come to the Mexican Center for Tarahumara to get help in finding jobs. Tarahumara who come into towns such as Huachochi have difficulty in getting work. There is always the language problem. If they cannot speak Spanish, there's almost no hope. The few jobs available are in manual labor, street work for instance. There is little prestige and poor pay in work such as this. Skilled Tarahumara craftsmen are urged to produce for the craft shops. Tarahumara dolls sell well. Baskets are also good sellers. People like to buy the Tarahumara masks. But prices in these shops are low, and the Tarahumara don't make a lot of money for their efforts. This violin sells for $7. The Mexican government has training programs at the center in Huachochi. Tarahumara can learn woodworking and carpentry at the center. This Tarahumara man, Marcelino, is a success story. Marcelino was born in Huachochi when it was only a small village. When the government built the center there, Marcelino was just a boy. He learned Spanish and carpentry at the center school. Now, Marcelino is one of the most valuable people at the center. Right now, he's chief carpenter on the new radio station going up in Huachochi. He also serves as an interpreter for the center, dealing with Tarahumara affairs. He moves freely between the two cultures, Tarahumara and Mestizo. Most of the Tarahumara who work for wages work in cutting timber. The high mesas are rich in trees, and the lumber business is the largest business around. Cutting down trees is a good job that requires no particular language, so it's a job open to the Tarahumara. The cultural changes in Huachochi are evident. Once a quiet village like Caborichi, Huachochi is now a mixture of Tarahumara culture and Mestizo culture. Streets are shared by all, and for a variety of purposes: herding goats and hauling goods. Wagons here are a curious evolution of parts of old trucks and cars. Axles, springs, and wheels are never thrown away. This new truck will probably spend its last days converted as a wagon. Little by little, the motorcycles in Huachochi have replaced the horse, but not completely. Some of the mestizos of Huachochi still ride their horses downtown. There is also a limited bus service. Tarahumara from Caborechi, Huarachi, and Tonachi can come to Huachochi by bus. Streets are shared by all, even if it is inconvenient at times and the dust is everywhere. The streets of Huachochi mix the old with the new as Huachochi moves toward the Western modern world. Cultural change in Iroquois in the Ivory Coast in West Africa is slow but sure. Today, Kwakwame has a visitor who owns a bicyclette. This bicycle is still an unusual object in Iroquois. But a mile away in Mbayakro, the bicycle is an ordinary everyday thing. Baole boys can buy toys in the market at Mbayakro. This wire truck costs very little and seems to provide a lot of enjoyment. There are more expensive toys in the market: airplanes, trucks, and cars made in China and curiously labeled in English. They are too expensive for most Baole families. Probably the most noticeable cultural change among the Baole has been the change in occupation. A generation ago, nearly 100% of the Baole men were farmers. Now, new occupations are open to them. As new modes of dress are adopted, as leisure suits replace robes and togas, there is a need for tailors who can make these suits. School dresses for girls also have to be made, as well as shirts for the boys. Baole men who become expert tailors can take their skills from this market in Mbayakro to the bigger cities of Bouaké and Abidjan. The Japanese change as they discover elements of other cultures which please them. Western music and other Western arts flourish in Japan. When the Tarahumara see new ideas and techniques introduced by the Mexican government which they feel will benefit them, they accept them. The Baole change as the marketplace changes. Less need for agriculture and more need for goods and services present the Baole with choices of lifestyle.